Her name was Kamla Devi. In our small town, everyone knew her name, not because she was kind, not because she was generous, but because she pretended to be rich. Kamla lived in a modest two-room house with her husband Ramesh and their only son Arun. Ramesh worked like a donkey in the grain market, carrying sacks all day, while Kamla sat at home, polishing her brass bangles until they shone like gold. Everywhere she went, she carried herself like a queen. At the temple, she would drop coins loudly in the donation box so everyone noticed. At weddings, she wore borrowed saris and pretended they were from Jaipur boutiques. And every evening, at the well, she boasted, "My son Arun will marry into a big family. We don't settle for less." Now Arun was a good boy, soft spoken, hard working, nothing like his mother. He had fallen in love with Meena, a sweet village girl whose family was simple but honest. Arun was happy, Meena was happy, even Ramesh was happy. But Kamla? Oh no, Kamla saw marriage as her biggest performance. She told everyone, "My Arun deserves a bride who brings dowry, gold, cash, even land. Otherwise, what's the point?" When Meena's family came to discuss the wedding, Kamla served them tea in shiny steel cups and pretended they were silver. She smiled sweetly, but her words were sharp. "Meena is a lovely girl, but surely you understand. A son like Arun deserves proper gifts. Jewelry, maybe a motorbike, some cash. It is tradition, after all." Meena's parents looked heartbroken. They were poor farmers, barely surviving each season. They folded their hands and said softly, "We can give love to your son, Kamlaji, but not wealth. Our daughter will bring respect and care. Isn't that enough?" But Kamla scoffed. "Respect doesn't pay bills. Arun is the pride of our house, and his bride must bring dowry fitting for our status." Still, the wedding was fixed. Kamla wanted the whole town to believe it was going to be the grandest wedding in years. She bragged at the well, "We have booked caterers from Jaipur. Arun's sherwani is pure silk. And the dowry? Oh, you'll see." The women nodded, wide-eyed. Some whispered, some envied, and Kamla glowed in their admiration. Behind closed doors, the truth was uglier. There was no caterer, no silk, no dowry. Kamla had borrowed money from neighbors, lied to shopkeepers, and squeezed every last coin out of poor Ramesh. Then came the wedding day. The guests arrived in colorful clothes. Music filled the air, and Kamla floated around like a queen. Arun sat nervously in his sherwani, borrowed, not bought, while Meena sat in her bridal sari, innocent and glowing. And then the truth came crashing down. When the gifts were opened, there was no gold, no motorbike, no land, just a few utensils, a blanket, and some sweets. Meena's father, trembling with shame, said, "This is all we could afford." The guests began to whisper. Some giggled, some shook their heads. "Where is the dowry Kamla promised?" "Didn't she say silver coins for all the guests?" One child ran up and shouted, "Auntie, this isn't silver. These are pebbles wrapped in paper." He held up the so-called coins Kamla had secretly prepared to fool the crowd. Laughter exploded, and Kamla's face turned ashen. Her grand empire of lies collapsed in one single moment. Meena's father turned to Kamla and said firmly, "We may be poor, Kamlaji, but at least we are honest. Respect cannot be bought with lies." Kamla's head hung low for the first time. She had nothing to say. The wedding continued, but not as the grand event Kamla had promised. It was simple, small, but filled with genuine love. And as the villagers blessed Arun and Meena, they avoided looking at Kamla, who sat in a corner, silent, broken, and exposed. From that day, Kamla was no longer known as the rich lady. She was known as the woman who traded honesty for pride and lost everything. Greed and lies can buy attention, but never respect. True wealth lies in honesty, humility, and love.